Dreams can be fascinating, exciting, terrifying, or just plain weird. While there's no clear consensus on why we dream, researchers have learned quite a bit on what happens while we're dreaming. Here are things that you should know about our dreams. So starting off, everybody dreams. Adults and babies alike dream for about 2 hours per night, even those of us who claim not to have dreams. In fact, researchers have found that people usually have several dreams each night. Each dream typically lasts for about 5 to 20 minutes. During a typical lifetime, people spend an average of 6 years dreaming. So next up is the fact that you will forget most of your dreams. As much as 95% of all dreams are quickly forgotten shortly after waking up. According to one theory about why dreams are so difficult to remember, the changes in the brain that occurs during the sleep do not support the information processing and the storage needed for memory formation to take place. Brain scans of sleeping individuals have shown that the frontal lobes, which is the area that plays a key role in memory formation, are inactive during rapid eye movement sleep, the stage in which dreaming occurs. So next up is the fact that not all dreams are in color. While most people report dreaming in color, there's a small percentage of people who claim to only dream in black and white. In studies where dreamers have been awakened and asked to select colors from a chart that match their colors in their dreams, soft pastel colors are the ones that are most frequently chosen. So next up we have the fact that men and women dream differently. Researchers have found some differences between men and women when it comes to the content of their dreams. In several studies, men reported dreaming about weapons significantly more than women did, while women dreamed about references to clothing more than men. Another study showed that men's dreams tend to have more aggressive content and physical activity, while women's dreams contain more rejection and exclusion, as well as more conversation than physical activity. Women tend to have slightly longer dreams that feature more characters. When it comes to the characters that typically appear in dreams, men dream about other men twice as often as they do women, while women tend to dream about both sex equally. Next up, we have the fact that animals probably dream. Many think that when a sleeping dog wags its tail or moves its legs, it's dreaming. While it's hard to say for sure whether this is truly the case, researchers believe that it's likely that animals indeed dream. Just like humans, animals go through sleep stages that include cycles of REM and non-REM sleep. Next up, we have the fact that it's possible to control your dreams. A lucid dream is one in which you are aware that you're dreaming, even though you're still asleep. Lucid dreaming is thought to be a combination state of both conscious and REM sleep, during which you can often direct or control the dream content. Approximately half of all people can remember experiencing at least one instance of lucid dreaming, and some individuals are able to have lucid dreams quite frequently. So next up is the fact that negative emotions are more common in our sleep. Over a period of more than 40 years, researcher Calvin S. Hall collected over 50,000 dream accounts from college students. These reports were made available to the public in the 1990s by Hall's student. The dream accounts revealed that many of the emotions that people experience while dreaming were negative. The most common emotion experienced in dreams is anxiety. Next up is the concept that blind people may dream visually. In one study of people who have been blind since birth, researchers found that they still seemed to experience visual imagery in their dreams, and they also had eye movements that correlated to visual dream recall. Although their eye movements were fewer during REM than the sighted participants of this study, the blind participants reported the same dream sensations, including visual content. Next up is the fact that you're paralyzed during your dreams. REM sleep is characterized by paralysis of the voluntary muscles. This phenomenon is known as REM atona, and it prevents you from acting out your dreams while you're asleep. Basically, because motor neurons are not stimulated, your body does not move. In some cases, this paralysis could even carry onto a walking state for as long as 10 minutes, a condition known as sleep paralysis. While the experience can be frightening, experts advise that it's perfectly normal and it should last only a few minutes before muscle control returns. Next up is the fact that many dreams are universal. While dreams are often heavily influenced by our personal experience, researchers have found that certain dreams are common across different cultures. For example, people from all over the world frequently dream about being chased, attacked, or fallen. Other common dream experiences include feeling frozen and unable to move, arriving late, flying, and being naked in public. Next up is the idea that dreams help us solve puzzles. Scientists have long wondered why we dream, with answers ranging from Sigmund Freud's idea that dreams fulfill our wishes to the speculation that these wistful journeys are just a side of rapid eye movement or REM sleep. Turns out, at least part of the reason may be critical thinking. According to Harvard psychologist Deirdre Barrett, who presented her theory in 2010, she claims that our slumbering hours may help us solve puzzles that have plagued us during the daylight hours. According to Barrett, it's the visual and often illogical aspects of dreams that make them perfect for our out-of-the-box thinking that is necessary to solve some of these problems. Whatever the state we're put in, we're still working on the same problems, Barrett said, adding that while dreams may have originally evolved for another purpose, they have likely been refined over time for multiple tasks, including helping the brain reboot and helping us solve problems. So next up is the fact that in our dreams we only see faces that we already know. Our mind is not inventing faces, so therefore in our dreams we see real faces of real people that we've seen during our life but may not know or remember who they are. We've all seen hundreds of thousands of faces throughout our lives, so therefore we have an endless supply of characters for our brains to utilize during our dreams. So next up is the idea that night owls have more nightmares. Staying up late has its perks, as long as you could hit the snooze button the next morning. However, light dreams are not one of the perks of staying up late. Research published in 2011 revealed that night owls are more likely than their early bird counterparts to experience nightmares. In the study, 264 university students rated how often they experienced nightmares on a scale of 0 to 4, 0 meaning never and 4 meaning always. The stay up late types scored on average 2.1 compared to the morning types who have averaged 1.2. The researchers said the difference was one significant one. However, they aren't sure what's causing the link between sleep habits and nightmares. Among their ideas is stress hormone cortisol, which peaks in the morning right before we wake up, a time when people are more prone to be in REM or dream or sleep. If you're still sleeping at that time, the cortisol rise could trigger vivid dreams or nightmares. So next up is the idea that nightmares are not merely bad dreams. A nightmare is indeed a bad dream, but not all bad dreams are nightmares. Specifically, a nightmare is a dream with a vivid and disturbing plot that most often wakes the dreamer from their sleep. Upon waking from a nightmare, a person may be sweaty, out of breath, and feel afraid. A bad dream, on the other hand, is simply a non-medical catch-all term for dreams that are unpleasant. Nightmares take place during the final and deepest phase of sleep, which is REM. This is when the brain shuts off communication with the spinal cortex, causing our limbs to temporarily be paralyzed. Research has linked PTSD, anxiety, and certain medications to nightmares in adults. Nightmares can also be caused by eating food before bed. Eating triggers a metabolic response and increases the brain activity, even during sleep. So next up is the concept that sleep paralysis can be scary as hell. Literally. Anyone who's had sleep paralysis knows how terrifying of an experience it can be. The sleeping person's mind is essentially awake, but the body is immobile and in a deep state of sleep, hence the word paralysis. Sleep paralysis only occurs in stages of light sleep, and is most likely to happen during a nap, or close to the end of a night's sleep. A person will experience visual and auditory hallucinations that are universally fearsome in content. The body is unable to move during an episode of sleep paralysis, making the experience all the more surreal and terrifying. Neurobiologists have found evidence suggesting that the paralysis experienced during sleep paralysis could be caused when shifts between REM stages don't happen as they should, resulting in a brain that is awake and a body that remains asleep. A very common sleep paralysis hallucination is of a demon sleeping on the chest of the sleeper. It's often accompanied by the sounds of whispers, train horns, or bells. Across cultures, hallucinations that result from sleep paralysis involve an intruder that's perceived as a threat. Whether that's a rabid dog, an alien from outer space, or a burglar, it's more than enough to give you the night sweats. Now it's time to get to the nitty-gritty of what you really want to see. So next up is the fact that adult nightmares are somewhat rare. Frequent nightmares among children ages 5 to 12 are pretty common, affecting 20 to 30% of kids, according to the American Academy of Family Physicians. Nightmares most often taper off as children reach adolescence though. So in adults, frequent nightmares are somewhat rare. Only 5 to 8% of adults will experience frequent nightmares, and generally, only certain personality types will have this experience. Overall, adults who are most likely to suffer from frequent nightmares are those that are creative, or those that might have an underlying psychological problem. A 2015 study of Finnish adults found that adults who deal with depression, exhaustion, insomnia are more likely to have nightmares. Another study from 2009 demonstrated a link between anxiety and increased nightmares for women. This same report found that adult women are more likely to experience nightmares than men. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them on your phone. Make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. So next up is the concept that one of the most unsettling forms of dreaming that can take place is REM behavior disorder. RBD. Brought into the mainstream by the 2012 film Sleepwalk with Me, RBD is present when sleeping people act out the narrative of their dreams, which is likely to include risky behavior, such as jumping out of a window just like in the movie. The experience of RBD is similar in some ways to night terrors, but the content of RBD dreams will generally involve a lot of action, which includes running, jumping, playing sports, and manifestations of something that's violent. As the name suggests, RBD dreams occur during REM sleep and is commonly associated with disorders such as sleep apnea, narcolepsy, and periodic limb movement disorder. When a person suffers from RBD, typical muscle atonia does not occur during deep sleep, which results in physical action. It's not uncommon for sufferers to hurt themselves or anyone that they share a bed with. Last but not least, be a pal and share this video, and we will be eternally grateful. And who knows, maybe we'll send you a freebie one of these days just for helping us out.